Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free, and you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Mother's Day or Mothering Sunday, depending on where you live, is a day which has different dates all over the world. Now in 2023, the UK and Ireland is Sunday the 19th of March. USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, it's Sunday the 14th of May. France is Sunday the 4th of June, and Spain is Sunday the 7th of May. Historically, during the 16th century, people in the UK would return on the fourth Sunday in Lent for a service to their mother church. Now this was either the church you were baptised in or the local parish church, or often the nearest cathedral. In later times, Mothering Sunday became a day when domestic servants were given the day off to visit their mother church, usually with their own mothers and other family members. The children and young people who were given the day off on that date would pick wildflowers along the way to place in the church or give to their mothers. Eventually, the religious tradition evolved into Mothering Sunday tradition, and that was giving gifts to mothers. Early in the 20th century, Anna Jarvis in the United States held a memorial to honour her own mother and all mothers at the church in Grafton, West Virginia. Now this event marked the first official observance of Mother's Day. An International Mother's Day shrine at this church is now a historic landmark in the United States. In 1914, US President Woodrow Wilson made a proclamation establishing the second Sunday of May as an official date in the US for the observance of the National Day to celebrate mothers. Inspired by Anna Jarvis, Constance Penswick Smith in the UK created the Mothering Sunday movement. People from Ireland and the UK started celebrating Mother's Day on the same day that Mothering Sunday was celebrated, which was the fourth Sunday in Lent. Other countries in the world celebrate Mother's Day in May rather than Mothering Sunday. Now, mothers' roles and those in the mothering position in the family today are very different to the early 1900s when Mother's Day was first celebrated. Today there are many people other than the biological mother in the mothering role of a child within the family dynamic. Deborah Jakovich, Director of School of the Human Ecology at the University of Texas, states, "That person, the one who bears ultimate responsibility for the health and well-being of an infant, is typically the mother. The mother forges the child's earliest and most powerful emotional bond, which remains critical throughout the child's life." She also points out that this doesn't mean mothers are perfect, or that other roles like fatherhood or other people who fill the mothering role in the life of the child aren't crucial. Amongst these important people are stepmothers, same-sex couples, transgender mothers, gender-neutral mothers, and fathers, all who have stepped into the role either through choice or because of the family situation. The question is, what kinds of things do we think of as mothering qualities? What are the qualities that help children develop into emotionally healthy adults with the best chance to reach their potential? Are these qualities different for every child and every parent or person in the mothering role? The person in the mothering role in the family affects children far into the future, even influencing how well they're prepared to be parents themselves as they grow up. The reason why I talk about personalities, types, and love languages is that these are all tools to help us as parents understand ourselves, our partners, and the kids that we have in our family, whether they're our biological children or not. It really doesn't matter. My mum was a mum of 4. She worked full-time, did all the household chores in an era where it was just expected, and therefore she was very time poor. I knew my mum loved me. She was always there for me, but with 3 other children, she was really busy and unable to always sit and ensure that she heard what was going on in our worlds. Whereas my father had time to listen, probably because my mum was doing all the household work, and I was very close to him. I used to talk to him rather than my mum about my problems and ideas, even in my teen years. However, when my father left home and began another relationship, although he was around for me, things changed. My dear mum became my rock, as she took on the role of listener and confidant when my dad had left off. This close relationship with my mother has continued to this day. Now, I've been fortunate in my life to have supportive parents whose parenting has positively influenced the way that I parent today. Now, this is not a perfect world, and many people are unable to thank their mothers. For example, their mums might have passed away. Many people don't want to thank their mothers, as many mother-child relationships have been broken due to unhealthy behaviours. I'm Kate Mason, and welcome to Parenting and Personalities. This is the podcast that connects you to the ones you care about the most. Today I'm talking to people about their mothers, or those who have cared for them in this role, what their relationship is with them, what qualities did they love or dislike about them, and what was their greatest learning from them. I'm talking to Trey today about mothers, and we're discussing what our relationship was with them and what were the qualities that they shared with us and our greatest learning from those.
Thanks, Kate. My mother was, well, first of all, I should say a mother of 5 children and a husband who had a serious health issue and couldn't drive, and so was quite dependent on her. So she really had 6 dependents. And she worked full time, more or less. So time was very scarce. And I look back at those years in our childhood and say, I never felt that time was scarce for me. She always would have the time to listen to the micro details of my everyday stories, and I felt utterly supported all the time. And to the extent that I could come to her with the stories of where I had felt embarrassment or shame or, humiliation or anger or whatever those stories were, that where I had the negative feelings as well as just all the pedestrian things of life, and I felt that she just listened and supported. That is probably the thing that, apart from that, by the way, she was also really good fun. So you'd have a good laugh with her, and she was very quick-witted, still is. So there were lots of fun things as well, but I think it's that quality of listening and carving out time and not passing judgment that I have endeavoured to really take forward with my son. If there's one thing that I would try to anchor my parenting style in, it's to say I'll always try to create the environment for him where he can come and talk to me about anything at all, and that he would find that helpful. What about you?
Well, Trey, once again, my mother too she was a mother of 4, working full-time, busy husband. And for me, in my early childhood years, say before uni, Mum was always there. She was fair. She listened to everything that I had to say, but she was pretty busy. So for me, it was actually the latter part of my life. My father left home, and my mum became my rock. She was the person that I could talk to. She kept every confidence. She was managing 4 children without a husband, and she was amazing. And as the years went on and we were closer, she worked for us. She worked with my husband for 10 years. She never said a bad thing about anybody, which is my biggest takeaway. She sat, she listened, she smiled. I would come home and say terrible things about my husband, and she would say, oh no, dear, he's all right. What a magnificent woman. So my takeaway is that I want to be like my mum, and I try very, very hard. I try very hard to listen and not give advice, which Trey and I have talked about many times, and just to go with the flow of the conversation and not have an opinion around it. Because she never had any opinion. She never tried to direct my thoughts or my ideas in any way. She just sat and listened. So she is still doing that today when I bound into her house at 91 and tell her all my news, and she just sits and nods and listens. And that's the quality I want to have with my children and with my grandchildren in the future, that I can just listen and hear what they have to say and make no comment. I'm talking to Sophie, and she has a beautiful new baby called Fred, and we're going to be asking her what is one thing that she's learnt from her mum while dealing with the new baby, and then what she really loves about her mum.
I've learnt from my mum to let the small things slide, and not get hung up on the little things when it comes to having a new baby in the house, which has been very valuable in the last 6 months.
And what do you love? What's something you love about your mum?
Oh, she's very understanding, very supportive, very fair, very loving and kind. And, yeah, she's always been there for me.
Beautiful. That's a pretty good wrap-up for a mum. Thanks, Sophie. I'm talking to Laurie. Laurie's going to tell me the things that she has learnt from her mum.
I have learnt not to spoil my children and do absolutely everything for them, therefore teaching them some responsibility. And something I love about my mum is that she shows me endless love and provides everything I want and need in a mother.
I'm talking to Christina. Now, Christina, what's something that you learnt from your mother?
I learnt to stand up for myself and to be very independent and not agree with people just for the sake of it.
Brilliant. And what's something that you really love about your mum?
My mum is the rock of our family. We lost our dad quite early, so she has raised 4 children and been an amazing woman and an amazing role model.
I'm asking my son Jack, I'm not sure what the response is going to be, about what he's learnt from me as a mother and what he loves the best.
I think my mum's helped me form who I am today in terms of understanding other people and, as you know from this podcast, different personalities, knowing strengths and weaknesses, as well as a great sense of humour, as you've probably realised as well from listening to this over the years. Just a lot of fun yet sick jokes from my mum and
do you love
myself.
about me?
Just that you're a kind, warm-hearted person. You get along with all my friends and girlfriends, and yeah, fantastic.
Thank you, Jack. That's a beautiful tribute. Hang on. And there was no coercion or punishment due to the response of this podcast. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Cassie Mason. Happy Mother's Day all. My favourite thing about my mum is that she's my best friend. I would be incredibly lost without her. She's so supportive, loving, kind, and she's always there for me. And what I've learnt from my mum over the last 28 years is how to view the world in a positive way, that tomorrow is always a new day, and to trust my gut and always go for what I want. I love you so much, Mum, and I wouldn't be the person I am today without you. Happy Mother's Day.
If the mothering role for you has been filled by either stepmothers, fathers, grandparents, neighbours or others, this Mother's Day could give you a moment to thank them for their care. If your mother's still living and you have a good relationship with her, count yourself lucky and think about how you can thank her for the great responsibility she took on to care for you. To all mothers, those who are in the mothering role, those who have lost their mum or are no longer in contact with them, my thoughts and best wishes are with you at this time. As a person in a mothering role, your efforts to care for a child don't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Just knowing that you care goes a long way for the children in your life. Thank you for listening to Parenting and Personalities. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could leave a rating and a review that would help others learn about this podcast. If you're interested in discovering more about you and your family's personality types, you'll find my book, Who Is This Monster or Treasure in My House, on Booktopia or Amazon. If you have an episode idea, please send a note to thepersonitycoach@gmail.com. And many thanks to our producers at Stories and Strategies, and we'll see you next time.
Are you a podcaster? Maybe you've got that big idea and you're looking for a network to join. The multi-award-winning Ozcast Network can get your content to eyes and ears all over the world. Join now for the first month free. And you could be featuring this sound at the beginning of your podcast.
Ozcast.
Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.